7 Men's Stories, Exciting Entertainment. The man who forever changed Rome, Gaius Julius Caesar. The name alone conjures images of power, glory, and betrayal. He is one of the most central figures in the history of Rome and one of the most influential personalities in the annals of world history. Caesar's life was marked by ambition, strategic genius, and an insatiable thirst for power that elevated him from a general to a dictator, and ultimately made him the victim of one of the most infamous assassinations in history. But who was this man really? And how did he manage to transform the Roman Republic into one of the most powerful dictatorships of antiquity? This story will take us on a journey through Caesar's life, from his first steps into politics to his tragic end on March 15th, 44 before Christ, the infamous Ides of March. Prepare to immerse yourself in the world of a man who was more than just a general. He was a symbol of Rome's transformation. Gaius Julius Caesar was born on the 13th of July in the year 100 before Christ into one of Rome's oldest and most esteemed families. The Julii claimed descent from the goddess Venus herself, a claim that imbued the young Caesar with a profound sense of destiny from the very beginning. Despite his noble lineage, Caesar's start in life was far from easy. The political upheavals in Rome and the loss of the family fortune forced him to plunge early into the battle for power and influence. From a young age, Caesar exhibited political brilliance. After a brief but successful career as a military tribune, he began his political ascent with elections to Quaestor, then Aedile, and finally Pontifex Maximus, the highest priest in Rome. But it was his appointment as proconsul of Gaul that catapulted Caesar into the annals of history. Gaul, the wild and untamed land north of the Alps, presented a challenge few in Rome could conquer. But Caesar saw the conquest of Gaul as more than just a military mission. It was his chance to gain glory and wealth and solidify his power base in Rome. Between 58 and 50 before Christ, Caesar led a series of campaigns that became known as the Gallic Wars. In these 8 years, he defeated a multitude of Gallic tribes, including the famous Arverni king Vercingetorix, whom he captured after a brutal siege at Alesia. The conquest of Gaul made Caesar immensely wealthy and one of the most powerful men in Rome. But as his influence grew, so did the tensions within the Roman Republic. The political elite, most notably Pompey, Caesar's former ally and now greatest rival, feared his growing power. The Roman Senate demanded that Caesar disband his legions and return to Rome to face justice. But Caesar was not ready to relinquish his power without a fight. In the year 49 before Christ, Caesar made a decision that would forever alter Rome's destiny. With the words "Alea iacta est," the die is cast, he crossed the Rubicon River with his army and marched toward Rome. This act of defiance marked the beginning of a civil war that would shake Rome to its core. The civil war between Caesar and Pompey was brief but intense. Despite initial setbacks, Caesar managed to defeat Pompey's forces in a series of battles, with the Battle of Pharsalus in 48 before Christ delivering the decisive victory. Pompey fled to Egypt, where he was assassinated, while Caesar solidified his position as the unchallenged ruler of Rome. But Caesar's victory on the battlefield was only the beginning. Back in Rome, he declared himself dictator for life and initiated a series of reforms aimed at stabilizing and modernizing the Roman Empire. He canceled debts, reformed the calendar, and passed a series of laws that curtailed the power of the Senate and strengthened that of the plebeians. Many of these reforms were necessary and brought relief to the people, but they also alienated the entrenched elite, who saw his power as a threat to the Republic. The pinnacle of Caesar's power also marked the beginning of his downfall. His increasing authority and the fear of monarchy led to a conspiracy among the senators who plotted his assassination. Led by Marcus Junius Brutus, a close friend and confidant of Caesar, the conspirators devised their plan, which was executed on the 15th of March, 44 before Christ, the Ides of March. On the morning of that fateful day, Caesar was surrounded by the conspirators in the theater of Pompey and was stabbed 23 times. The famous line, "Et tu, Brute?" Even you, Brutus, may be a legend, but it symbolizes the profound betrayal Caesar experienced that day. With Caesar's death, not only did the life of a man end, but so too did an era in Roman history. The Roman Republic, which he had so profoundly transformed, was no longer the same. and his death triggered a new round of civil wars that eventually led to the birth of the Roman Empire. Gaius Julius Caesar was more than just a politician and general. He was a force that forever shaped the fate of Rome and the history of the Western world. His deeds, his reforms, and his visions of Rome left a legacy that would endure for millennia. But ultimately, it was his own ambition that brought him down, a fate he shares with many other great men in history. Feel free to follow this channel to avoid missing any new content. Disclaimer: the images are AI generated and are for illustration purposes. The stories on this channel are researched to the best of our knowledge.